What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here with another video, and today we're going to be doing the Tennessee Titans record predictions after they got Julio Jones. And this is why I wanted to wait a bit, because I realized that Tennessee, Green Bay, Houston even, we haven't even seen the end of what their off seasons are going to look like. So obviously, like seeing Julio Jones get traded for, I believe, this year second and then a next year fourth is for Julio Jones and a next year sixth. Obviously kind of sparked me to do this video because I actually have a video ready to put up for another team, and that team was the Raiders. So yes, you guys, spoiler alert about what the record's going to be, but let's kick into this. Let's enjoy it, and let's kick it off. Obviously, we know the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. Don't really need to talk much about the quarterback depth there. Just want to jump into the weapons and keep this shorter. I know that every single video we're posting, we're losing some old subs that they aren't loyal, all right? The ones, the new ones, you guys, and then the ones who are loyal, that's the only ones I care about. All right. If you guys want to jump ship because we're not in draft season, you do you, boo. We'll see you back later on. But we're here right now. Let's enjoy this. Let's have some fun. Starting off, let's look at the wide receiver core, which is obviously the biggest news, which is Julio Jones and AJ Brown. Wonderful pair, especially if you have Josh Reynolds in the slot. That is a killer trio after pretty much almost eliminating their wide receiver core, apart from A.J. Brown this offseason. They, like the Chiefs, have revamped a very crucial part of their offense. So big fan of what Tennessee has just done there, especially for this year's second. Like, obviously, I know Atlanta probably thinks it's closer to a third, given the fact that this team does have the legs to do it. Again, we are going to not consider injury because I don't know how well Derrick Henry's going to do this year. Back-to-back, I believe, 2,000-yard rusher. Maybe not back-to-back, but he's been kicking ass for quite a while. You know, there's a chance that he doesn't do too well. But the other wide receivers, Des Fitzpatrick, I've been a fan of him. I thought he got drafted quite high, and that's coming from me where I like him. You know, I thought that he was definitely not the best wide receiver on the board whatsoever. So, okay. Racey McMath, I thought that was a terrible selection. I don't even know what the hell is going on there. But that's kind of the big issue for me right now is you get past these top three dudes, you got pretty much nothing. It scares the shit out of me. I'm looking at all these guys. I can't, like, these guys shouldn't even be on rosters. Chester Rogers isn't that terrible, but he's still nothing close to good. You know, Des Fitzpatrick's the only one that I think is competent behind the top three. That's not good. That's not good overall. Obviously, you keep your stars out there for the majority of the game, but you do have to give your guys some rest. Tight end wise, this is their biggest downfall as well. You know, you have pretty much no tight end. I don't think Anthony Ferguson is going to be that great. He had like maybe one good game last year. You lost Jonnu Smith, who was a huge asset. I was honestly surprised. I know that Brevin Jordan, I forgot actually where he went. I'll figure it out after this, but I was surprised they didn't pick him up in like the late second or something like that. You know, there's definitely room to be able to pick up guys like that, and they didn't. So that kind of hurts. They might have been able to get him in the third. I think he actually slipped into the fourth round and went to some team. I'm forgetting him right now, but regardless, that's a big weakness. That was a huge asset last year. Obviously, you have a big upgrade over what you had with Julio Jones and A.J. Brown being on here. But again, two wide receivers without a tight end with a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill, who he's solid, but people say like he has the best deep ball rating. I'm like, dude, he doesn't throw that many deep balls. That was his biggest weakness in Miami was they knew that he couldn't throw the deep ball. So that's why Jarvis Landry got fed like over 100-something catches in 1 year. It's like there's a reason for it. And he's excellent at pinpointing and being able to just use this one. I'm forgetting the name of the scheme, but he's able to maximize off of that. But a tight end is really useful at the same time. Dylan Raduns was their second-round pick, so I'm not going to get on their ass for doing that. Their third-round pick. That's what I'll get on their ass for not doing. But let's look at the offensive line because obviously we already talked about Derrick Henry, who's a beast. Darrington Evans is pretty solid. They have a good set of backs. But tackle-wise, you got Dylan Raduns here. Don't need to talk about Isaiah Wilson. Kendall Lamb, I don't think he's going to start. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to start Dylan Raduns. And then, of course, at left tackle, you got Taylor Lewan. So, again, we need to see Raduns take a step into being comfortable in the NFL. Did a good job of showing that he could be able to face D1 talent but at the Senior Bowl. But, again, that's not NFL grade. So that's something that we need to be able to consider in this equation. They're going to be down a starting quality right tackle for at least half of the season while Redunes gets his head and ass wired together. That's something that I'm going to be a little bit worried about. Again, Lamb might start for a little bit, given the fact that he was brought on in free agency. Free agency wasn't too good, in my opinion, for the Titans, who have totally obliterated their roster, apart from Julio Jones, which they did a good job. But I'm pretty sure that is going to be the offense, apart from the guards and stuff. You got Nate Davis, Roger Saffold. Saffold's taking a big drop from how good he was at the Rams. Nate Davis, okay. I'm not really a big fan of their other guard spot. Ben Jones is solid, though. I like Ben Jones. Oh, Elijah Molden was in their third round. Man, I mean, it's hard, honestly, to get on their ass for what they drafted. the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, Elijah Molden had a lot of personality issues coming from my insiders in the NFL. Obviously, Caleb Farley, we don't even know if he's going to play. We're assuming it, all right? We're assuming it, so I can't get on their ass for it, but still. Looking at the defensive side, though, you got Jeffrey Simmons here in the middle, along with Naquan Jones. That's solid. That's a solid duo. I still think obviously they got Avery Jones. Wait, really? I was thinking that Danico Autry is the guy I was thinking of. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to be going to, I believe, a 3-4, which really they should be doing similar to what Pittsburgh did. Obviously, not trying to be a little bit cheap because they do have Bud Dupree as an outside linebacker. If they do a 3-4, using Simmons as a 3-4 nose tackle, and then using guys like Danico Autry as your 3-4 defensive ends and stuff, that'd be solid. I'd like that. But they're looking a little bit weaker on the interior. Again, Simmons is solid, but I don't really see much real talent besides that. Again, Autry, solid enough. Rashad Weaver was a really good pickup, but again, not really that amazing. He has his ups and downs, which will be more consistently down in the NFL. Looking at the linebackers, though, you got your inside linebackers. You got Jayon Brown and Will Compton, and then, they got Monty Rice. That's where I was like, I think that was one, I believe that was in their third round, where I was like, dude, you should have probably gotten Brevin Jordan right there. Regardless, I know that franchise guy, Marcus, is going to be totally on board with that. He loved Monty, but I never was fully on board. I had like 4th round grade on him, 5th round. But regardless, they have a solid linebacking core. It's nothing spectacular. You got Rashaan Evans who can play as well. Harold Landry who can come off that edge along with Bud Dupree. They have some good dudes. They do. Again, I don't really see the depth though. That's a problem. They don't really have guys who are really competent at depth. Thank God they got Monty Rice. Obviously, I thought overdrafted, but still, it's good, especially with how like fast paced the game is. You want to keep fresh linebackers in, and then we're gonna go into the secondary where we're gonna look at these corners. Obviously, you got Jano. It's kind of a fuck up in my eyes. Christian Bolton isn't that great, but obviously he's better than nothing. Breon Borders is pretty good though. I'm pretty sure that he played really well last year. We don't know if that's going to continue. People have like 1-year wonders. Elijah Molden was a great slot pickup, and then Caleb Farley, again, very talented. So they have the talent there. The question is, A, will Caleb Farley even play? B, it's Elijah Molden's attitude going to get in the way of him actually going to be able to get along with his teammates? Is it going to get in front of him actually wanting to train? We don't know. He hasn't even signed his contract yet, so I hope that's not becoming a factor in there. And then looking at the safeties, you got Byard, obviously, who's amazing. And then you got like Amani Hooker here. Trying to find other safeties because I know that I passed up on what's his name? I'm Byard a little bit earlier. But Amani Hooker, if he's the other safety, he's solid, but I would not want him to be my true starting safety. I love him being a rotational guy. So that's that. I said I was going to take a shorter time, but we didn't. Regardless, we're getting right into this. Arizona, Tennessee. This is going to be interesting because, again, Arizona's big weakness is probably their defensive line. They got J.J. Watt to replace that, though. I think he's going to be playing. There's no way in hell they're going to do this. They said he was going to play outside linebacker. I thought he'd be playing more of like a 3-4 defensive end role or like a 4-3 D end role in a hybrid scheme, like allowing Chandler Jones to be running off that edge. Not really sure, but it's interesting because I think that the linebackers are solid, but maybe not solid enough. I just don't have faith in Cliff Kingsbury. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm not very confident in him. And Tennessee's going to need to make a statement. Julio Jones is going to come out week 1. Arizona neglected their secondary for the most part. They got Malcolm Butler there, but I mean, losing Patrick Peterson, replacing him with Malcolm Butler, not really the idea, like my ideal situation. They got Marco Wilson as well as Tate Gowan, but again, those guys need to develop. I'm going to go Tennessee for the first one. Just again, that secondary scares me a little bit. And they're going to be pounding it with Derrick Henry. They're going to have to stack the box. If you leave Julio and A.J. Brown on the outside, that is a big, big no-no. I'm going to be honest. I think that if they had a guy like Deshaun Watson, they would be a lot better. But that's not taking a shot at Ryan Tannehill. That's just saying, like, everybody has their limits. And I think that Ryan Tannehill's limit is that deep ball, which, again, he can be accurate, but there was a reason that he was not that great in Miami is because they knew how to eliminate that scheme-wise, which Tennessee's done an amazing job of changing that. Tennessee and Seattle, though, that's a fun one because Seattle's done a good job revamping their line. They've actually done a really good job in the offseason doing everything they can to be able to totally change their offense. And something I really like, they brought back Chris Carson, too. They have an elite wide receiver core, arguably, like, I think it's as good as Tennessee's. You got DK Metcalf, who's an extreme deep threat. You have Russell Wilson, who can throw the deep ball and throw it extremely well. You have Tyler Lockett, who is just an extreme burner, similar to like an A.J. Brown in that way, where he's like always a threat no matter where he is on the field. And then you got Dwayne Eskridge. You're in Seattle as well, dude. I'm going to be taking Seattle here. I don't like Seattle personally. I actually hate it. I'm one of the guys who I just can't stand Seattle. But I got to give them credit where credit's due. Indy and Tennessee, that's a fun one because Indianapolis, I believe, got to retain Xavier Rhodes. That's a big, big plus. But I think they're lacking a little bit in that second cornerback spot, man. If I'm not mistaken, that's always why we have this series, though. We can always change this up when we look at the contracts. Again, that's why I do this. Like, we look through every single player that's on salary right now. And then we're able to educate ourselves rather than the bullshit we did last year. But Tennessee has a good enough, again, we're assuming full healthiness. They have a good enough secondary to stop Indianapolis's offense. Indianapolis has a really good revamped defensive front. Don't think it's enough, though. Really don't. That's a problem. Linebacker-wise, Darius Leonard's a beast. I don't like the fact they lost Anthony Walker. I don't think he's that big of a game changer, but it's still somebody who I thought was a nice piece to the defense. And obviously losing Malik Hooker as well. I'm not sure if he returned or not, but that's another one where if Tannehill wants to throw that deep ball like once or twice, that's where it's going to get him. Obviously, Julian Blackmon was an excellent addition on the squad. But I'm going to be going Tennessee here as well. I usually favor the home teams just in general, especially since you're going down to the muggy south from Indianapolis. Carson Wentz is still going to be new. He's still going to be getting used to how this all rolls out. Tennessee's probably their biggest advantage is their middle linebackers. I think Jayon Brown as well as I'm bugging on the other guy's name, Rashaan Evans. I think they work as a really good duo. People don't like them, but that's just me. Jets and Tennessee. Jets did a good job in the offseason being able to build their team. But again, I don't believe they're ready. It's like I'm a fan of Zach Wilson, but I don't think they're ready yet. I think Tennessee being able to add that Julio Jones aspect really did save their franchise. Dylan Raduns is another very big redeeming factor as well. So personally, I think that Tennessee actually does have the guts to be able to do some big damage. Again, we're assuming full healthiness here, guys. With injuries, Tennessee might not even do half as good as what I might say that they're about to do. But that's just me. Tennessee and Jacksonville. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a really fun one because Jacksonville has a solid-ass defense. They're young and they're developing, man. And Jacksonville, watch out. But they have an elite offense. Like I don't think people understand how good it is. I thought they should have addressed tackle a little bit more. They have a really good secondary, too. Tyson Campbell's going to be able to keep up with Julio. All right. That's just my thing. I think he's going to be able to keep up with them. I think this is an upset game. I think Tennessee's going to get too cocky and they're going to get caught. I think that's it. And Buffalo. Oof, that's going to be a fun-ass game. But Buffalo spent a lot of draft capital on their defensive front for this reason. They brought back their entire linebacking core as well. It's perfect to stop the run. They have an elite secondary as well. That's going to be able to at least mitigate Tennessee quite a bit. Kansas City going up against Tennessee. We already know for some reason Tennessee is their kryptonite. Like it happens almost every year. It's their kryptonite, but You do you, boo. Tennessee, Indianapolis again. This is going to be interesting because I think Carson Wentz could definitely win this one. But again, I think that they're going to be really that second cornerback spot. I don't think Xavier Rhodes is going to be able to handle either AJ Brown nor Julio Jones. And you know me, I'm usually against Tennessee. I'm going to be rocking Tennessee there. And the Rams are going to beat Tennessee at home. I think that that's just going to be a sneaky one for them. Just going to be a sneaky victory for the Rams. I don't think the Rams are going to be nearly as good as what people say. You lose your defensive coordinator, which the entire team's like identity was the defense. You lose your captain on defense, and then you lose your starting center. Like there's big impact that comes from that. Obviously, at least Pittsburgh was able to fully address that in the draft. New Orleans and Tennessee. That's going to be a fun one, but I'm going to be rocking Tennessee. Don't have much faith in New Orleans. Just going to be honest. They're kind of like a franchise that's falling apart in my eyes. Again, I don't think either of their quarterbacks are ready. And I'm just going to leave it there. I don't think they're ready. Houston, fully rested going to Tennessee. It's going to be a bad year for Houston. You have either Tyrod Taylor, which apparently the tryouts for like the quarterback workouts have been going terribly, or you have Davis Mills, who played freaking like 11 games. He started 11 games, Sean. Like, come on. You can't thrust those guys into the starting lineup. And Tyrod Taylor's he's been serviceable on a team that almost went to the Super Bowl, right? He brought the Bills to the playoffs, which cheers to him, but that's a Super Bowl ready team. Tennessee, New England. This is a fun one. This is always a fun one. Vrabel versus Belichick. It's a tough one. That's a damn good game. I'm excited to watch that one. I'm gonna go New England at home, giving Tennessee, since they're fully rested, the advantage over Jacksonville. I like just giving Jacksonville a little bit of credit where credit is due. Now this is a fun game. I'm still going to keep the game like this for the time being because, again, Minkah Fitzpatrick will eliminate that deep ball presence, and then they can use him at corner if they want him to. I just feel like Pittsburgh and Tennessee is always a game that's really good, and you are in Heinz Field. I'm going to give the advantage to the guys in Heinz. But San Francisco is an elite defense, stud defense. Problem, I think, is honestly their corner core. That's my biggest issue. And wide receivers is probably the thing that Tennessee is doing best right now. That's a tough one. It's a real tough one because I think that they're going to be either rolling out Trey Lance if they're not doing well at this point, which then would just totally change the entire game, or I'm giving it to Tennessee. San Francisco is a very, very touchy team this year, but they're definitely good. They're definitely good. Definitely a team that we're going to have to reconsider some games on in the future when we learn a little bit more about their roster because I need to see that corner core. Miami has an elite corner core. They have a quarterback who should be taking another step, should be. Solid enough running back core. Apparently a pretty solid offensive line. Again, I just didn't think Eichenberg was good enough. I mean, I thought he was good. He was amazing. I thought he was a first-round talent. But I didn't think he was good enough to totally flip your entire offensive line or to kick him to a different spot. On the offensive line, I have my reservations. But, again, the wide receiver core, it's pretty good. Again, I don't have that much confidence in Devontae Parker. We've seen one really good year out of him. And then you're still looking at your number 2 spot. Slot, you got Jalen Waddle, who's amazing. I just don't believe Miami has the guts right now. I don't think they do. Really don't. And I'm a Miami fan. I love Miami. But you're not in Miami. And I just think that Tennessee's going to be taking it. And I don't like saying that. But Tennessee's going to take this game as well. And that's going to lead them into the playoffs at 11-6. And that's weird for me because I gave them like 8-8 last year. This is assuming full healthiness, man. So, I mean, I think they can pound right through the center of Miami's defense. Don't think that their interior defensive line is that great. Again, that could always change when we study their roster. But for now, it looks like the Titans might be leading their division just because of bringing on Julio Jones, because that's a big, big addition. It's going to be able to at least either get Derrick Henry some more room to be able to breathe, or else it's going to be able to allow Julio Jones to have time to get open. And both those situations are pretty damn lethal, especially since you're not even factoring in AJ Brown yet or Josh Reynolds. So let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the far side. Peace.